We have some global shakeups occurring. We will explain everything here. Let's get into it for the week beginning December 31st, 2018. Hello everyone, it's Michelle Patterson here with Angel Souls, and this is the weekly angelic message for the week beginning December 31st, 2018. Happy New Year, everyone. Before we get into it here, if you would like a year overview personal reading or a personal reading for any other reason, just go to my website at angelsouls444.com, the services tab. Please make sure that you fill out the form that pops up right after you make your purchase. That is what holds your place in line. If you don't have that there, the wait time is no longer valid, okay? And I'll just have to fit you in wherever I can. Now, if you do miss the form right after you purchase, it can easily be found underneath the thank you tab on my website, all right? Now, if you'd like to go check out some courses, some monthly videos that I've done, your overview for 2019, all of that's over at Gumroad, along with some meditations. All that information is down below. And a very, very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. It helps out so much, and it makes it possible for me to do these videos. So if you would like to also support me on Patreon, again, the information will be down below. Now let's talk about the energy coming into 2019. I know a lot of us, we go by our calendar, right? And it's like January 1st, that means fresh starts. This means resolutions. This means I'm going to change my whole life. And there is a little bit of a message here of, remember, fresh starts don't have to have anything to do with the calendar. You can have your fresh start whenever. But as we said in the intro, there is some energy coming forward. There will be world happenings. There's going to be some turmoil. Things are shaking up again, and we'll get into it here. But this is a call to change, and we've been saying this for a very, very long time. I feel like I say that in every video, but we need to really start changing on a personal level so that things in the world will change. An example of this, if we sit around and complain about, why things are this way, that way, and the other, it's because we allow it. If people say, well, why is there so, why are YouTubers, for example, it's becoming the new television, really. Why are some of these YouTubers so famous for acting ridiculous? Well, it's because people watch. So if people aren't watching, they're not going to do that. If we accept it, then it continues, right? If people are constantly just going along to get along, they don't speak up on certain causes because they don't want to make waves. They don't want people to see them in a certain way. They want the approval. They want to be loved. Well, that doesn't help change anything, right? Another example that's popping into my head right now is where people don't want social change because of nostalgia. Remember the good old days when mom used to stay at home and bake cookies and all this stuff, and it's completely it's almost like a selfish move. It's like because of your nostalgia, you don't want women to have any rights. You don't want women to do anything besides bake cookies and, be at home all the time. So that's one example. Or, the thing I see all over Facebook is, people who are in a certain age bracket, they're always talking about, again, the good old days, the good old days, the good old days. And a lot of times they're, posting pictures from the 1960s. Well, those aren't the good old days if you're black or if you're a woman. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that, we have to undo some of this stuff, and we have to, there's some horrible stories that came out of that era, and we won't get into it here. But there's a certain somebody, comment down below if you psychically get a hit on who I'm thinking of right now, a young boy who met an end that never, ever should have happened to any human being. But comment down below if you think if you know who I'm talking about. I just don't want to say it here because then people might go Google it. And then, some of the images are pretty bad. So anyway, love to him, love to his family, bless his soul. But, we got to watch this whole idea of the good old days, all right? Over romanticizing the past or only considering ourselves, okay? So there's a big call to this. And I feel like this is just, we didn't even get to the writing part of this. This is just the channeled part of it coming, or people don't call this channeling, I suppose. It's mediumship, fine, whatever. The message that's coming through now that I want to pass along is we need to be more compassionate about our history and also not twisting history so that we can have gain from it now. So it goes both ways. Goes both ways. All right. Having said that, let's get into it. Fresh starts. Rest is still in order. Fresh starts do not begin with human calendar dates. They are decided by you. There is tension in the world. This starts a trend for your month as you see it. So they're talking about our linear time. This has actually been looping around and been going on for quite some time. These events, thank you. Okay, so they're saying these kinds of things will trigger people and they just want to go back to their childhood. They just want to go back. But for some reason, it really does, I don't know what this is. You guys will have to report back your experiences, but this really does hit people who would have been children during the 1960s. Okay, so again, report back. I don't know. It was a very, very turbulent time. And the 60s was, in our linear time, that was the first attempt at pushing through a spiritual ascension. And for many of you out there, if you're old enough to remember that, you might have been part of that spiritual movement. Unfortunately, though, chemicals started to come into it and try to push open the consciousness, and not enough was known. So it wasn't done naturally, right? Anyway, that's a whole other discussion, but you have to report back what that does. But that, for a lot of people, it triggers this nostalgia because they're trying to hide from the pain of what they're seeing in the world. And it would be very easy to say, oh my gosh, the world is a mess right now. I wish I could go back to the good old days. But again, this is just round 2 of things that had occurred in the 60s. Okay. Where were we? It's like chills and like kind of like a kind of feeling around this. There is tension in the world. This starts a trend for your month as you see it. These events are calling for change that humans have ignored. Round 1 didn't work. We're in round 2 now. This will go into 2020 as well. They begin with personal changes. If you refuse to change your ways, then turmoil shall continue. Again, this is people trying to hang on to what they always remember, feeling comfortable and not being willing to go, hey, you know what? Some of this stuff is happening because people are very, very hateful towards one another. And maybe we need to stop that, right? And then again, on the other side of it, I mentioned this already, don't take your social activism and use that as a way to manipulate people. I'm offended. You better apologize to me. Well, you're waiting a long time, honey. Have a seat. You know, just go over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to be balanced and we have to really be truly coming from a place of compassion. And if somebody says something that sort of shows where their mental state is, maybe it's not the nicest thing, we do have a little bit of a responsibility here as human beings to take a beat, take a pause, not just automatically hate that person, but try to figure out where they're coming from. Right? I know that sounds like people are going to be like, are you kidding me? I'm not doing that. Forget them. I'm just going to block them on Facebook. But guess what? That doesn't do anything. We're still very, very polarized. And I think this is one of those things that really is going to be coming up in our faces. There's going to be tension between countries. I feel like China, it's a big one. China's coming up, spying, all these things. You know, I'm not saying that China is spying. I'm not saying that. Keep me out of the drama, okay? I'm not saying that. But like, there might be a question of that. And there might be some drama around that, okay, or something along those lines. So, yeah, it's like East fighting the West. I don't know that it doesn't come to blows necessarily, at least not at this time, but there is this sense of tension. Again, this tension rising, like, hey, what are you doing? And then they're pointing our way and going, hey, but what are you doing? Like, you know, and all these things. And what they're really trying to drive home here is that we can change all of this by changing our own perspectives and changing our own energy. Okay? Okay, then, oh God, I can't read this. Then there will be earth events of mass intensity. We're talking storms, earthquakes. California, you're in this again. I'm telling you guys, get out of California. Come here, I'll hug you. Okay, I'll put my arms around you. I wish I had 1 million arms to put around 1 million people. Aftermath, they're saying aftermath for California, going up into Oregon and Washington, that whole west coast of the United States. France, you're still in it. We know that, though. There are protests going on in France. But these are like more, they're talking about natural disasters, tensions between countries. There are going to be individuals acting out. And it really is, again, we were being asked to heal ourselves, and people are resisting it and they're reacting against it. Okay? It's complicated. It's a little complicated. All right. There is a spirit of survival and leaving what is no longer needed. You cannot continue as you have. Let new doors be open. With all love, Archangel Uriel. Archangel Uriel, Uriel. Okay, Uriel is one of the big four, right? With Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and then Uriel. So let Uriel help you get this clarity, this wisdom. It's really a time to not come from the intellect so much, but get into your wisdom. What does this mean? What is really important, right? How can we protect ourselves? Now, I don't want to put this out there as like, oh, there's danger, but I'm telling you guys, there's a reason why I am, I'm a spiritual practitioner, but I'm such a huge advocate for proper mental health care. And I put that word proper in there because sociopaths and narcissists can become therapists. They can be your clergymen. I've come across them. I've had therapists I had one that was a malignant narcissist and really caused a lot of damage. So, and then another one who's probably a non-malignant narcissist. That's not a diagnosis. No, I don't have a degree in it, and I don't care. We don't have to be stupid, okay? We can educate ourselves and observe what's happening around us, and we can protect ourselves. So I'm a huge advocate for, proper mental health care, because part of the reason why people go and do the horrific things that they do is because of their mental state. I just saw the most horrific thing. This is this gamer who was live streaming, and he was beating his wife, and you hear not only her screaming and crying, please forgive me for this story, but you not only hear what's happening to her, but you hear these kids yelling. Those kids just got twisted. They just were hurt. Okay, I don't know if they were hit, but they were, at a minimum, they witnessed it. Okay, because it was off, like you just see him darting off the camera, and then he's going over and doing his thing. And I'm sitting here watching, of course I was horrified, but I also kept thinking, oh my God, those kids. Oh my God, protect the kids. Quit making the kids go through that. Quit, and it's all because people are not processing their own pain. That guy probably acted that way because that's what he saw when he was a kid. Right? We're too much normalizing abuse. This whole get over it thing is not acceptable anymore. This whole thing of toughen up, be a man, or, be demure, don't mouth off to him, because, not only do we have this mental illness example with the guy, actually inflicting this abuse, but the woman on the other end, she's fighting him, and they're doing it right in front of kids, apparently, allegedly. Again, I don't know the whole story there, but then there was the social media response. This just proves that women never know when to shut up. Excuse me, she was, provoking him to hit her. I'm not kidding, people. Hear me now. People still have that mentality. And I don't know, like these poor kids, and those poor kids are going to grow up and they're going to maybe have violent tempers as well. We need to take care of ourselves. Deal with your stuff. Protect the kids. Protect the kids. It's not just about like, oh, well, they didn't get hit, so they're fine. That's not true. They're not fine, okay? They just had to see something horrible. So I feel like this is like, hey, this is the change. Wake up. Make it happen, all right? Figure it out. If you need to go off, if you kind of were raised in a violent household, go get help, okay? And let's change this, man. I mean, this is what we got to do. We have to, band together here. And this isn't a time of division of, oh, those people over there, they always do X, Y, and Z. I don't care how entitled you think you are to say such things. You're a part of the problem. But I've dealt with this, and this. I have a right to fight back. You don't have a right to stoop to the level of the people that, you're fighting against. That doesn't help, okay? We're trying to evolve. So we all have to move forward. All right. So having said that, let's get on to the cards. All right. Okay. So let's see what else we have going on here. An intense message for this week, but we got to do the work. And that's all there is to it. Protect the kids, protect the kids, protect the kids. Okay, I had a card flip out. Let me just grab it here. Yep, Kyanite Blue, letting go. I'll hold it up a little more properly here in just a moment. This is also cleansing, clearing away all the negativity, clearing away all of, you know, yeah, the turmoil, all of this stuff, really cleansing that away. We need a different approach. We definitely need a different approach. All right. Okay. A couple cards fell. We have trust and patience. So things will be turning around, but it's very, very heart-centered. And they're talking about how we need to heal our hearts. And then dreams. And for the first time, this has never happened, but I just pulled that and I'm not going to hit on it. But we'll get there. Let's get the color card going. Okay, so what do we have? We have Pearl, connect to the divine. It's getting back to God. It is getting back to God. There's no more waiting. All right, let's start from the first card. We have Kyanite Blue, letting go. So again, this talks about cleansing, clearing, purification. Okay, all of that stuff. Sorry about the glare. I'm talking with my hands. So let me just steady that there. There is the card. So let that be a priority for this week. Now, if you're getting all hung up on like, no, this is where I start working out. No, this is where I eat healthy. I mean, you could do all that too if you want, but don't, actually now they're bringing in the Herkimer Diamond card. Don't get your head stuck in a dreamland. Okay. Don't be stuck in denial. And it's time to change the dreams. We have to change what is possible for our world. This does have this very, very global kind of feeling about it this week. So this Herkimer Diamond, this can actually help intensify and amplify getting into a positive new direction. Okay, and that was the Dreams card was the fourth card I pulled. I just held it up, so I'm not going to hold it up again. But the second and the third, these I have to read together because they popped out together. So we have Pyromorphite Patience, and then we have Prehnite Trust. So healing your heart, trusting that by healing your heart that things will turn about. You're not going to see it right away though. That's what this patience card is talking about. So focus on that, the letting go, the healing our hearts. Again, it's protecting the kids. It's not just about, you know, we don't take things like emotional abuse seriously, okay? And that's not okay because once again, this is where we have people storming into a public place and doing horrific acts. It's because, you know, we all really diminish, you know, we say, oh, only a therapist can tell you about narcissism, or only a therapist can tell you about sociopathy. And that's true as far as the diagnosis goes, but we have a right to educate ourselves, as I stated before. So we need to get smarter about that. We need to get smarter about personality disorders. Again, this isn't about you going around diagnosing your friends and your family, okay? I keep saying again and again, but just to reiterate, like that's where, you know, the professionals need to come in and handle that. But we can start looking and going, instead of just going, why would anybody do that? Don't just ask the question. Look into the answer. Why do you think? Why do you think, oh, quit blaming the parents, you know? And I don't want to go there. I don't want to be like, oh, it's always the parents. But, you know, there are things to explore around that. And on a spiritual level, we're talking about, we have this card right here, which is Pearl, Connect to the Divine, numbers 25. We have lost our connection to our purity, to our divinity, to this flow of love. When we're in a space of love, we don't want to harm one another. We're in a space of love, we don't want to fight one another. When we are in a place of trusting the divine, we don't feel like we need to protect ourselves from one another. Okay? It's a very, very big message here. And if it goes over your head, I'm sorry, you're part of the problem. Back to this. Let go of all that stuff that is keeping you from understanding this message. If you're getting offended, if you're, you know, again, we're in this culture of trying to find anything and everything to be offended about, but we're not, and I'm all for change. I just don't like what people are doing with it. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right, and it doesn't feel like it's helpful either. So this week we're going to have this maybe this push pull. We're going to have people fighting one another. We're going to be, and people are going to, maybe whine and crying. Oh my gosh, we just want to hang on to what used to be, or oh my gosh, why can't we get back to blah blah blah? And it's just not time for that anymore. Heal yourself. Heal yourself. Heal your heart. Seek help if you need it. All right? And don't be in denial about what you're going through. Protect the kids. Remind them that they don't need to be scared. Remind them that you are there for them. Okay? Whether they're your kids, if it's, if you see something, say something kind of thing. I know a lot of parents are going to come in and be like, well, you're not a parent, Michelle. What the heck are you talking about? It's not about what I have to say about it. I'm an angel medium. I'm sitting here. I'm doing this. I'm bringing this message through me to you. So I don't need to be a parent. They are saying these kids are being harmed. They're being harmed in the most horrific way that you've already heard. But they're also being harmed by people fighting in front of them. That's to a kid, that seeing people fight, that's terrifying. It's traumatizing them. And don't diminish that. Don't diminish that. All right? So this is what we're talking about here. So we need to be careful with our kids. It doesn't mean go off and spoil them and create little monsters. I've seen a few of those too. God love them. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, we want this more, like, this open awareness, and treat your inner child the same way. Allow that inner child to be protected and healed. Okay. Heavy message. We're going to leave it there. I'm sending you so much love, and take care.